sustainable future.
Hello and welcome. We are live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Coming up in the next hour, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi to address a special session of Global Fintech Fest in Mumbai will also launch projects to boost maritime connectivity, including India's largest deep water port. More trouble brewing up for the Indian state of Gujarat, already battered by monsoon fury. Deep repression to turn into cyclonic storm of Gujarat coast by Friday. In a first sit-down interview of her presidential campaign, Kamala Harris defends policy shifts, says her values have not changed, might appoint a Republican to her cabinet. Israel agrees humanitarian pauses in Gaza to allow polio vaccinations. Drive to be rolled out in 3 separate stages across Gaza beginning Sunday. All right, news in detail now. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be visiting India's financial capital Mumbai on Friday and will deliver the keynote address at the 5th edition of Global Fintech Fest. DD India's Shama Mishra reports from Mumbai.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be visiting India's financial capital Mumbai on Friday and will deliver the keynote address at the 5th edition of Global Fintech Fest. It is being jointly organized by the Payments Council of India, the National Payments Corporation of India and the Fintech Convergence Council. PM will also be visiting booths on display at the exhibition hall. There are around 300 plus exhibitors displaying their services and products related to fintech solutions. The 3-day fest, which started on August 28, is one of the largest fintech conferences. This year, the Global Fintech Fest is designed around the theme Blueprint for the Next Decade of Finance, Responsible AI, Inclusive, Resilient. India being one of the fastest growing fintech markets in the world. This conference assembles the leading minds in global fintech to surge ahead, ensuring inclusive and sustainable growth.
And learn a lot about UPI, how it was built, how it was done, what are the objectives, and the success that it's had, particularly in bringing more formalization to the business sector by having lots of small merchants suddenly connected to this larger payment system. So it's been a pleasure, and then I love hearing how fintechs are going to improve, expand, and deliver greater service to everybody.
The focus is responsible AI, inclusivity, and resilience, and it highlights the commitment to building a responsible financial ecosystem that can adapt to and thrive amid global challenges. Global Fintech Fest 2024 is presented by the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Ministry of External Affairs, Department of Financial Services, Reserve Bank of India, and International Financial Services Centres Authority.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been an advocate of Digital India. In his Mumbai visit, it is expected that the Prime Minister will reiterate the need for stronger DPI, further revolutionize the fintech solutions, and also on his vision of making Mumbai the fintech capital of the world. Shama Mishra, DD India, Mumbai.
Later in the day, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will lay the foundation stone of India's largest port project at Vadhvan in Palghar district in western India's Maharashtra. More in this report.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will lay the foundation stone of India's largest port project at Vadhvan near Dahanu in Palghar district of Maharashtra. This port will boost economic activity and open new avenues for international trade. The project cost of Rs 76,220 crores includes development of major infrastructure, terminals and other commercial infrastructure. It will be developed in public-private partnership mode as an all-weather, greenfield, deep draft major port.
There are 2-3 aspects which are very unique to this project. The first and most important aspect is that there is a huge demand and supply gap will be in 2030 for the EXIM trade for the containers, and this gap will be fulfilled by this particular project.
The project has the potential to create around 12 lakh jobs. Local communities expect an uptick in employment and other opportunities for them once the work commences.
I feel this project is going to be a mega boost in the financial and infrastructure boost for the progress of the Palghar district, and it is going to be on the maps of major international front, and it is going to improve connectivity to the outside world.
Vadhvan port will be in proximity of hinterland clusters, including the upcoming dedicated freight corridors and Delhi-Mumbai industrial corridor. The port can serve as a gateway for the upcoming India-Middle East-Europe corridor and the international North-South transportation corridor.
This Vadhvan port is going to be a very game-changer project in recent times. Obviously, a lot of investments is involved in it, but at the same time, it's going to give job opportunity to millions and lakhs of people. Well, that's the reason this Vadhvan port is going to be one of the important destinations on the international map. Shishila for DD India, Vadhvan, Palghar.
All right, let's go across to Palghar now. DD India Shishir Shelar is joining us live from there. Shishir, good morning. PM Modi to inaugurate Vadhvan mega project. Tell us, major step in a bid to bolster India's maritime infrastructure.
Well, indeed, it's one of the biggest news for the Indian maritime industry because this particular port is once it's operational, it will be one of the biggest port in India, and probably we can say that it will also one among the top 10 ports in the world. You can imagine how big this port would be once it's fully functional. Well, the target the government have set, but the Indian government have set is almost 5 to 6 years down the line. The project will be operational here, and that's the reason all the necessary permissions have been taken care of. Well, Prime Minister today will lay the foundation stone of this particular port here, and then the operation for the construction of this port will start in a full speed. But what exactly India going to get from this? That's the most important aspect. On two front, probably we can see that this port will benefit India. The first, if you look about the domestic economical boost that the port will give to India. Of course, the local people here is going to get benefit from it. Nearly 12 lakh employment, direct or indirect employment opportunities will be opened up. And the second important aspect is, of course, the internal economy that we're talking about, the domestic economy they're talking about will get definitely a boost because it is connected to Delhi-Mumbai corridor also, and it also connected to other hinterland of the country. And that's the reason once the goods comes to this port probably later on, will be delivered to other part of the country through proper connecting channels here. So obviously domestically it is quite important. Now how big this particular port is, let me draw your attention to that. Currently in India, the biggest port that is operational, that is the Jawaharlal Nehru Port Authority, and of course the Mundra, which is a private port. And both of them have a handling capacity of around 7 TEU. But once this port is operational, it will have cargo handling capacity to almost 23 TEU. You can imagine it's a threefold, and that's the reason it's quite a humongous project in terms of cargo handling capacity is concerned. Well, in recent time, even though India has actually worked quite a lot as far as expansion of the port activities are concerned through the various projects like Gati Shakti project, Sagarmala project, and this port is also comes under the same initiative, and that's the reason government is working quite hard on this project to get completed. As far as the international aspects are concerned, as I'm talking to you, it also have a very positive international impact on India's economy here, because currently India don't have such a kind of big port here. If we talk about the maritime industry, probably the big vessels never used to come to India directly. As a result, this vessel used to get transferred to Jebel Ali Airport at Saudi, or probably in Singapore, probably in Sri Lanka. So a big chunk of the business that India was missing earlier. But once it's operational, all the big ships, in technical word it's called the mothership, probably vessels, can enter into the Vadhvan port and will get directly shifted to other places also. So that is the one aspect that India will definitely get a benefit as far as the Indian international trades are concerned, especially the EXIM trade is concerned. The other important aspect from international perspective is that India is quite focused as far as expanding its business is concerned to the Middle East also, the Europe also, and of course the US also. And that's the reason we are also engaging in the India Middle East Europe corridor. We're also engaging in the India North-South transport corridor. Well, this particular project and this particular port will definitely play an important role to engage into these both corridors. As a result, we may see that the Vadhvan port will emerge as one of the important maritime hub in future time.
Important maritime hub, like you said, Shishir, but by when this port will be ready, and also the port will be developed under the landlord model, what does it mean?
Well, absolutely. What we got to know from the authorities that the target has been set is almost 2030. The port operational will start here. That's what the authority is saying, and that's the reason operation is already full swing. The construction is already going on here. Once the PM was the laid foundation stone here. As far as the key important feature is concerned, this will be a land lock port here, and this is one of the major deep draft port India doesn't have so far, and this will be the first one and the biggest one, and that's the reason it's an all-weather deep draft port that India is going to get here. And that's the reason that the port is going to be made on a reclaimed land in the sea area. What we got to know from the authority have said that they have not acquired any particular land here, but they've actually reclaimed the sea land, and then the port is going to be constructed here. So that's the reason, as far as the ecological, the environmental sustainability is concerned, it's absolutely taken care of. That's the reason when I spoke to the authority here, they've said that it is the biggest project, but at the same time, they've also seen that how environmentally sustainable this project could be. And accordingly, several measures have been taken in that area.
All right, Shishir, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for the time being, but we'll keep coming back to you. Moving on to our next story now. Heavy rains battered parts of Indian state of Gujarat this week, flooding cities, snapping utility links and forcing thousands to leave their homes. The torrential rains have claimed 26 lives over the past 3 days. Further, the India Weather Department has indicated that the deep depression over Saurashtra and Kutch is likely to strengthen into a cyclonic storm over the northeast Arabian Sea by 9 p.m. tonight. Thus, the state is on high alert as the Weather Department has predicted heavy rains to continue over the next few days. And the Indian Army, Air Force and National Disaster Response teams are carrying out relief and rescue operations in the worst hit areas. All right, let's go across to Ahmedabad now. DD India's Parth Pandey is joining us live from there to tell us the latest. Parth, heavy rain batters parts of Gujarat, and also, like we read it, deep depression to turn into cyclonic storm of Gujarat caused by Friday by 9 p.m. tonight. Tell us the current situation there, and also tell us about the relief and rescue operations.
See, as we are talking about the current situations, as we know that it was the first low pressure zone in the Bay of Bengal, then it get into the depression and then deep depression, and now it is a tropical cyclone formation right now going on. See, it is a new phenomena because generally the cyclone gets created in the sea, but this time it is getting created on the land. So it is a new phenomena as far as the scientific and the geographical matters are concerned. Relief measures are going on since last 3 to 4 days in all over the Gujarat. There are 45 plus teams of NDRF, STRF and army right now constantly working day and night for the bad situation. The situation is bad in Vadodara, as we all know. But one good thing is there that the levels, water level, river level of the Vishwamitra is getting decreased day by day and things are getting normal. As you can see here in Ahmedabad also, things are getting cleared. It is sometimes sunlight, it is sometimes cloudy like the weather it is. But the things are critical right now still in the Kutch and the southern Gujarat region and the Saurashtra region. Kutch has received almost 180% of annual rainfall of the Gujarat, which is very much because all over Gujarat it is almost 120% right now. Today also the Saurashtra regions, Dwarka, Porbandar, Morbi, etc. region also received more than 10 to 12 inches, and in Kutch, the Mandvi, it received almost 15 to 17 inches of the rain. Due to it, the connection of the Mandvi was lost for some hours, and the Kutch Morbi, the highway was also disturbed for many hours. So the things are critical right now in the Kutch region because the depression and the cyclone is passing from that region, the western region, and it will reach the Arabian Sea from that route. So today and tomorrow, these 2 days are very much critical for the Kutch region as well as Saurashtra's Morbi, Porbandar, Dwarka, etc. region, because many rain can batter the
Right.
cities.
Next 2 days, like you're saying, will be very crucial. But Parth, tell us what are the preventive steps being taken to prevent major damages. Also tell us about the advisories that have been issued by the government.
See, two advisories has been issued by the IMD and the government. One is to the fishermen that do not enter the deep sea, and another is to stay away from the structures which are a bit risky. These two types of advisories has been issued by the government and IMD, and relief measures are going on by the NDRF, SDRF. Like they are using helicopters, they are using aircraft where they are needed airlift. You see, in Morbi, 10 to 12 people was airlifted. In Bharuch, more than 33 people was airlifted. So this type of things are going on, and advisories has been issued. One more important advisory in Vadodara was there to stay away from the electrical poles and the infrastructure related to electricity. So yes, there are advisories, there are relief measures going on by the NDRF, SDRF, army teams. Let's see what happens in the upcoming 2 days.
All right. We'll leave it at that, Parth. Thank you for getting us the updates from Ahmedabad. Now let's take a look at other stories making news. West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, whose speech at a party event created fresh row, posted a clarification note. In a statement on social media platform X, Mamata Banerjee has clarified that she had not threatened the protesting doctors. Meanwhile, the agitating doctors rejected the Chief Minister's appeal to join work and dare her to file FIR against them. In Jammu and Kashmir's Rajouri district, security forces have been put on high alert following a firing incident on Thursday. Cordon and search operation is underway in Rajouri's general forest areas of Khwas zone. 3 terrorists were killed in a joint anti-infiltration operation in Jammu and Kashmir's Kupwara district. Search operation is underway in North Indian state of Uttar Pradesh after the pack of wolves killed at least 7 people in Bharuch. 4 wolves have been caught so far, and the hunt is on to nab 2 others. Earlier on Wednesday, Forest Department deployed an infrared drone in which the presence of 2 wolves were noticed in the area. The festival of Ganesh Chaturthi is just around the corner as the preparations are in full swing in West Indian state of Maharashtra to celebrate the 10-day long festival with great zeal and religious fervour. The Ganpati festival begins on Ganesh Chaturthi, or the 4th day of Hindu month of Bhadra. The festivity ends after 10 days on Anant Chaturdashi, which is also known as Ganesh Visarjan Day. The Indian Racing Festival is set to make history with its inaugural night race at the Chennai Formula Racing Circuit. The Made in Chennai Formula 4 Racing Circuit is being hosted in southern Indian city of Chennai. The racing circuit, spanning a 3.5 kilometers route, is the longest street circuit in India and South Asia. All right, we'll slip into a very short break. On the other side, more stories. Keep watching DD India News Hour.
As our ecosystems change, we not only need to amplify our efforts to save them, but we also need to adapt our lives.
Today, everything grows here. At an altitude of 5,000 meters, we grow mushrooms, strawberries, watermelon, and tomatoes. It's been made possible by the introduction of technology.
It's like with stocks. You diversify your portfolio to minimize risk. That's what we're trying to do with the mixed forest, too.
People's mindset is changing in favor of electric mobility, and I see huge success in the future as well.
Same eelgrass is one of the most important elements in the ecosystem along the Baltic Sea coast. It produces oxygen and provides habitat for smaller fish.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Some more stories. US Vice President Kamala Harris said in a first interview of her presidential campaign on Thursday that Americans were ready to turn the page, quote unquote, on divisions she blamed on her rival Donald Trump. She added that she'll not ban fracking as a president. She stressed that it's possible to have a clean economy without banning fracking. Harris signalled her support to Israel to defend itself, but added that far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed, as she underlined the importance of the ceasefire deal. Harris also sought to allay apprehensions that she was soft on illegal immigration. She said that laws of the land have to be followed and enforced, and that there should be consequence for illegal immigration. Harris also signalled that there could be a Republican nominee on her cabinet. All right, DD India correspondent Benji Har reports from Washington, D.C. for more.
This was an opportunity for her to lay out her case on these main topics, the first opportunity that she's had in an in-depth conversation of its kind, and important for two reasons. One is that Kamala Harris is known for asking the tough questions in her capacity as a former prosecutor, former senator, but is she good at answering them? And the second thing she needed to do was to swat away those accusations that she's faced for many weeks now, that she's hidden from the press since becoming the nominee for the Democratic Party after President Joe Biden stepped aside in the race for the White House. She has managed to do that in a solid, if unspectacular way, and also defend her record that she wants to try to continue were she to win the White House on those key issues, as you note, including the economy, immigration. That's a real sticking point for her in particular, given that in another previous major sit-down interview she did years ago, it was her frankly unsatisfactory answer on the immigration crisis at the US's southern border, which gave many Americans the perception that she wasn't a strong interviewee. And then, as you said too, fracking. Yes, a domestic issue mainly, and an industry that drives the economy, and major swing states that Harris's campaign must win if they want to seal victory in November, but also one that speaks to America's position on the global stage vis-a-vis energy and climate change too. There was time to hit back at Donald Trump. She drew this very stark contrast between his disposition, his demeanor, versus what she views as President Joe Biden's selflessness in his decision to step aside in the race for the betterment of the country. She criticized Trump's attacks on her as, quote, the same old tired playbook, and I think tried to express to the American people that, yes, the Biden administration did a lot on the economy and on other matters, but frankly, she wants to go even further if she were to win the presidency in a few months' time and path what she calls a new way forward for this country.
Meanwhile, as the presidential campaign in USA is intensifying, the two rivals are harping on new issues to get voters tilt in their favor. The former US president and Republican candidate Donald Trump on Wednesday in his Michigan rally promised free IVF treatment that might help single mothers and also those couples who are incapable to have babies.
I'm announcing today in a major statement that under the Trump administration, your government will pay for, or your insurance company will be mandated to pay for, all costs associated with IVF treatment, fertilization for women, IVF treatment. Because we want more babies, to put it very nicely.
And Democratic candidate, U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris, too promised big in a door-to-door campaign in Georgia. She announced to provide tax credit for small business startups and said that the formalities will be announced next week. Take a listen.
So what I'm going to be rolling out next week is basically a tax credit for startups, for small businesses. We're starting out. Yes. Half of America's working population either owns, runs, or works in a small business.
And in Georgia, Harris also held a rally where supporters demanded peace in Gaza. She assured her supporters that a deal will be finalized soon on ceasefire in Gaza-Israel war and release of the hostages.
Let me just say something. Hold up for a
second. Hold up for a second. Let me just say something. Let me just say something. We are fighting for a democracy. Everyone has a right and should have their voices heard. I am speaking now, but on the subject, I will say this. The President and I are working around the clock. We've got to get a hostage deal done and get a ceasefire done now.
All right, moving on to updates on Gaza conflict now. The Israeli military and Hamas leaders have agreed to a series of humanitarian pauses in Gaza to allow for the vaccination of children against polio. The two sides agreed to 3 separate zone 3-day pauses in fighting in Gaza to allow for vaccination of some 640,000 children against polio. The World Health Organization, the first round of vaccination campaign will begin on Sunday.
Well, first of all, a 2-round polio vaccination campaign will actually start on the 1st of September in the Gaza Strip. During each round of the campaign, the Palestinian Ministry of Health, in collaboration with WHO, UNICEF, UNRWA, and partners, will provide 2 drops of the novel oral polio vaccine type 2, so-called NOPV2, to more than 640,000 children under 10 years of age.
And the campaign will start in central Gaza with a 3-day pause in fighting, then move to southern Gaza, where there would be another 3-day pause, followed by northern Gaza. The WHO confirmed on August 23rd that at least 1 baby has been paralyzed by the type 2 polio virus, the first such case in the territory in 25 years.
So we start the 1st of September, and we start in central Gaza for 3 days, followed by South Gaza, and then followed by the north of Gaza. Due to the insecurity, the damage, the road infrastructure, and population displacement, but also based on our experience with this kind of campaigns globally and worldwide, the 3 days might not be enough to achieve adequate vaccination. So we will monitor it throughout the campaign. It has been agreed when needed, the campaign will be extended by 1 day per zone, or even more when necessary.
On to updates on Russia-Ukraine conflict now. One of Ukraine's F-16 fighter jets crashed while repelling a major Russian attack on Monday. Kiev's military said the first such loss reported since the long-awaited arrival of the US-made planes this month. A top Ukrainian pilot was also killed in the crash. According to sources, the crash is being investigated and international experts will be invited to participate in the probe. Ukrainian Air Force used the F-16 to destroy missiles and drones launched by Russia on Monday. This was the first time any Ukrainian official confirmed the jets were being used in combat. Kiev waited a long time to get hold of the F-16s, and Zelensky has been asking its Western allies for the fighter jets since the start of the full-scale conflict. Pentagon has said that the Department of Defense has no knowledge of Ukraine seeking assistance after the crash of F-16, while spokesperson Sabrina Singh did not reveal how many American F-16s are currently in Ukraine, but expressed pride that planes are defending their skies and their country. Take a listen.
I'm not aware of any assistance or request for assistance from the Ukrainian side to us about this particular incident. We have been, as you know, training pilots here in the United States. I will say that, broadly speaking, combat aviation is incredibly complex, and we've been very proud to train some of the pilots here in the United States, and not just here, but our partners and allies through the UDCG are also training Ukrainian pilots on F-16s.
Meanwhile, Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin on Thursday commended Poland for its continued leadership among key allies committed to Ukraine's defense. He said this during a meeting with Polish Defense Minister at the Pentagon. While visiting, Minister thanked the United States for its support to its NATO allies in the face of Russian offensive in Ukraine.
Poland has shown exceptional leadership on Ukraine, including providing vital logistics support and substantial security assistance. That has helped Ukraine defend itself against the Kremlin's assault.
As the NATO frontline state, we are facing growing threats related to unprovoked Russian invasion of Ukraine and hostile action on the border with Belarus. Poland, similarly to the US, is fully committed to continuing support for our eastern neighbor, ensuring that Ukraine wins this war. No single country can face this threat alone, and we truly appreciate US firm commitment to defending NATO allies.
IAEA Director General Rafael Grossi will travel to Ukraine next week to hold high-level talks and assess developments at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. Ukrainian mission to IAEA said that Russia's Monday drone and missile attack forced Ukraine to disconnect several nuclear power units from the grid. The mission said in a note to the IAEA that Russia continued to target Ukraine's energy infrastructure, intending to disrupt the operation of its nuclear power plants and posing a significant risk to the stable operation of nuclear facilities. IAEA chief visited Russia's Kursk nuclear plant on Tuesday, following which he said the purpose of his visit was to draw the world's attention to the situation, warning nuclear power plants must never be attacked during warfare. All right, time now for another short break. On the other side, more stories. Keep watching DD India News Hour.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Recap of what we have done so far. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi to address a special session of Global Fintech Fest in Mumbai will also launch projects to boost maritime connectivity, including India's largest deep water port. More trouble brewing up for the Indian state of Gujarat, already battered by monsoon fury. Deep depression to turn into cyclonic storm off Gujarat coast by Friday. In a first sit-down interview of her presidential campaign, Kamala Harris defends policy shifts, says her values have not changed, might appoint a Republican to her cabinet. And Israel agrees humanitarian pauses in Gaza to allow polio vaccinations. Drive to be rolled out in 3 separate stages across Gaza beginning Sunday. Torrential rain continued to pour over large parts of Japan on Friday morning after Typhoon Shanshan made landfall a day earlier. In the southwestern region of Kyushu, residents in Fukuoka city were hunkering down with streets quiet and shops shuttered. Airlines have also announced cancellations of hundreds of domestic and some international flights, along with the suspension of many ferry and rail services. The weather agency said the storm was expected to approach the central and eastern regions after moving from Kyushu. All right, let's go across to Tokyo. DD India's Chris Gilbert is joining us live from there. Chris, Typhoon Shanshan brings torrential rains, travel turmoil across Japan. Tell us the latest. How's the situation there?
The storm has moved on from Kyushu, the main western island. It is now moving east across Shikoku, which is the fourth of Japan's 4 main islands and lies between Kyushu and where I am in Tokyo. The current path looks set to actually continue to the east and potentially go off the coast of Japan into the Pacific. but it is very hard to predict the path of the storm, the course, because of how slowly it's moving and how often that course is changing. The latest in terms of the effects of the storm is, as you said, rain. We are having the knock-on effects of the storm here in Tokyo, the warm air creating deluges, and even though Tokyo is hundreds of miles from the storm, it is the surrounding prefectures here that are experiencing the brunt of the bad weather at the moment. About 140,000 people have just been evacuated in Saitama. That's the region or the prefecture just to the north of Tokyo, and that's because of deluges all night, Thursday into Friday, and all day and Friday so far have, really loosened the soil and have created a high risk of landslides and mudslides, and landslides are what have, led to 3 of the 4 deaths of this storm already. Many rivers in Tokyo, as of Friday morning, so a few hours ago, were at bursting point, and so there were evacuation notices but not orders for many people in those areas, and stronger evacuation notices for people in Kanagawa, which is the prefecture to the west of Tokyo, for the same reason, rivers bursting their banks. Here in Tokyo, the rain is coming and going. It's a bit stronger at the moment, but there are periods where it dies off, which is extremely important to let the rivers drain and to really give some respite from this bad weather, which has been going on all week and looks set to continue into the weekend.
Chris, also in general public, people are facing issues, many difficulties like transportation, like you said, electricity, facing blackouts, basic necessities. Tell us till when the current situation is likely to persist.
Well, probably it's likely to improve going into next week. You're quite right. 100,000 people in Kyushu are still without power. There's a lot of debris on power lines because the southern area of Kyushu is really where the storm made landfall and when it was at its most powerful, really knocking trees around. As of this morning, Japan time, about 9,000 people in the Kanto area, so that is Tokyo and the surrounding prefectures, were without power as well. It's also a good point about travel because August is the main summer travel month for Japan, and people are not used to typhoons in August. They are arriving earlier with more intensity due to global warming. It's the second one this month. And so bullet trains or Shinkansen, which is the main way to get around Japan, have been delayed or cancelled entirely for the vast majority of the west of the country today going into tomorrow. You mentioned hundreds of flights on Thursday. There were 600 flights cancelled, affecting 33,000 passengers. So it's really put a huge spanner in the works for many people's holidays, but also, of course, the important business travel that happens around the country as well. The storm is looking set to skim past Tokyo on Saturday and is weakening as it goes, as it's now a tropical storm, not a typhoon. But authorities are urging vigilance and caution going into next week.
All right, Chris, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for getting us the latest from Tokyo. Leading a delegation, India's National Security Advisor Ajit Doval is on a 2-day visit to Colombo. NSA Doval to review deliberations of the Colombo Security Conclave, a regional initiative that began as a trilateral effort among India, Sri Lanka and the Maldives. NSA will also meet the leadership during his visit. All right, let's go across to Colombo. India's Dr. Ahmed Moeen Faruqi is joining us live from there. Faruqi, tell us, National Security Advisor Ajit Doval will attend the Colombo Security Conclave. Tell us, how significant is it?
You see, primarily speaking, Colombo Security Conclave, although it is a very old, grouping, a regional grouping, but the activities had picked up only after 2020. Now, this is a regional grouping which has immense significance for India. India has been pursuing Sagar policy, Sagar outlook, that is security and growth for all in the region. Primarily, if we are talking of the Indian Ocean region, where Sri Lanka, Maldives, India, we all have a huge, region of influence in terms of the exclusive economic zones. Now, this is where the significance of regional safety and security comes in. And the maritime security is something which India has been focusing quite a lot on. cyber trafficking, the maritime security, and various other aspects of international cross-border issues, including smuggling, including narcotics, and various other themes. So these have been the area of CAC. The NSA is here in Colombo. He arrived yesterday. He met the Prime Minister yesterday as per the reports from PMO. And thereafter, he has today, he has a few other meetings before, a very crucial signing event that has been told that it's going to happen later today in the day. This will probably be in the same theme of CSC. And this will lay a future roadmap for what the CAC will focus on, how it will go ahead. And this is what is appearing so far. The complete official picture will be released later on in the day. So we'll get to know what all the signing has been done, what all the documents were a part of the event. And any other update we will get to know, and we'll keep updating our viewers.
Okay. And Dr. Farooqi, also, like you said, is also NSA Doval is also likely to meet the political leaders. But tell us briefly about the Colombo Security Conclave. It was established in 2020 when India, Sri Lanka and the Maldives agreed to expand the scope of their trilateral meeting on maritime cooperation. And then Mauritius also joined in 2022, if I'm not wrong. Tell us about this conclave.
No, you're right, absolutely right. It's a trilateral, grouping of India, Maldives, and Sri Lanka. It began as that, but later on, two other countries were added onto it. Mauritius was added in 2022, and later on in 2023, India had proposed that we add Bangladesh and Seychelles as observers, and later Bangladesh was also incorporated as a member. Now, as of now, apart from India, Maldives, and Sri Lanka, Mauritius and Bangladesh are regular members, with Seychelles remaining as an observer. This has immense significance because these are all the countries which are a part of the Indian Ocean region also. So the IORA is one grouping wherein all the other nations are there, but this has immediate and direct impact on the Indian immediate neighborhood. So this has more importance with regard to how India would focus its security and maritime safeguards in the region.
All right, Dr. Farooqi, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for your inputs.
Sure.
Now, US National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan discussed a wide range of international issues with Chinese President Xi Jinping on Thursday, including cross-strait relations, Russia trade and concern over fentanyl. There are now plans in the works for a direct call between Xi and US President Joe Biden, as Caroline Malone reports.
Well, this was an important meeting between the US National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan and the Chinese President Xi Jinping that went on for many hours over Thursday on his final day of a 3-day trip to Beijing. Now, this potentially paves the way for a phone call between the US President Joe Biden and Xi Jinping that could happen in the short term, in a matter of weeks. And in fact, some suggestion now that the two, Xi and Biden, might even have a meeting face-to-face on the sidelines of one of the international events they both attend, potentially APEC or G20, that happens later this year. Both sides speaking this week about the importance of stabilizing relations and wanting to move forward and keep communications open. Sullivan had a number of meetings in Beijing this week, discuss a range of issues, everything from cross-strait relations, that includes the South China Sea and Taiwan-Chinese relations, to China's continued support for Russia and the US concern over that, mutual concern over the Middle East, of course, wanting the US in particular wanting to get to a ceasefire between Gaza and Israel, the US concern over fentanyl and how some precursors come from China and then produced into the drug fentanyl in Mexico and end up in the US. That was something that was on the agenda, as well as artificial intelligence. And also military-to-military communication. Sullivan had a very important meeting with a top military advisor to Xi earlier in the week. That was an opportunity to solidify plans for a call between regional commanders of the different militaries that could happen again in the short term. That, again, is a push to try and stabilize relations between these two superpowers and, more than anything, really keep communications open so that they avoid any unintentional escalation. Caroline Malone in Washington for DD India.
And amid a fresh diplomatic row between US and Honduras, Washington urged Honduras to reconsider its intention to leave a long-standing extradition treaty on Thursday. As Honduran President Xiomara Castro warned of a plot against her leftist government, Castro ordered her government to withdraw from treaty and suggested it was being used to intervene in domestic affairs, while the extradition treaty remains in force as per United States, and it defended extradition as mutually beneficial to both countries. American actress Angelina Jolie wowed the Venice Film Festival on Thursday evening, walking the red carpet for the world premiere of Maria. Jolie, in her latest biographical psychological drama film, plays the role of an opera singer, Maria Callas, who was one of the greatest sopranos of all time. Directed by Pablo Larraín, Jolie calls it the most demanding role of her career. Maria is one of 21 movies competing for the prestigious Golden Lion Award at the Venice Film Festival, which runs until September 7th. And filmmaker Tim Burton and his Beetlejuice stars, including Michael Keaton, Winona Ryder and Jenna Ortega, attended the film's London premiere on Thursday. It comes just a day after the long-awaited sequel to Burton's original 1988 comedy horror classic opened at the 81st Venice Film Festival on Wednesday. The film will release worldwide next week on September 6th. An Argentinian director, Luis Ortega's comedy Kill the Jockey premiered at the Venice Film Festival on Thursday, competing for the prestigious Golden Lion Award. The film narrates the tale of Remo, who vanishes from the hospital following an accident on the day of his career's most crucial race. The protagonist is portrayed by Naval Perez. The film also stars Ursula Corbero, renowned for her role in Spanish Netflix series Money Heist. All right, time now for another short break. On the other side, more stories. Keep watching DD India News Hour.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Now updates from Paralympics. India endured a mixed day one, which saw the likes of Sheetal Devi and Rakesh Kumar attain world record in compound archery. The day two will have another event in para-badminton shooting, along with medal event in women's discus throw. Mansi Joshi will be in action in the second match of women's singles badminton SL3 Group Stage A from 12 p.m. onwards. Avni Lekra and Mona Agarwal will play in round 2 of women's 10-meter air rifle standing SH1 qualification at 12:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Around the same time at 12:40 p.m, Suhas Yatiraj will play in badminton men's singles SL4 Group Stage A match. And then Manoj Sarkar will be in action in badminton men's singles SL3 Group Stage A match at 1:20 p.m. IST. There will also be the first medal event for India as Sakshi Kasna and Karam Jyoti women's discus throw F55 final at 1:30 p.m. And India's archer Sheetal Devi narrowly missed the world record in women's individual compound ranking round at Paris Paralympics. Sheetal Devi, while participating in the ranking round, shot an incredible 703 out of 720, but was overtaken by her opponent in the final shot of the qualification round. Sheetal Devi finished second in archery individual ranking round. The score 703 is a personal best for the double Asian Games gold medalist. She will next feature in the round of 16 on Saturday. All right, let's look at the medal tally at the Paris Paralympics so far. All right, China leads the medal tally with 4 gold and 1 silver, followed by Great Britain, which has clinched 2 gold medals, 3 silver and 1 bronze medal so far, while Italy is at number 3 with 2 gold medals, 2 silver and 5 bronze. The French President Emmanuel Macron was presented with the Olympic Order by International Olympic Committee President Thomas Bach in recognition of his unstinting support for the success of the Olympic Games Paris 2024 and his attachment to the Olympic ideal dear to Pere de Coubertin. President Emmanuel Macron was presented with the Olympic Order in gold. Macron has also backed India to successfully host the Summer Olympics in near future. He expressed his strong belief in India's ability to host the Olympic Games, highlighting its potential to organize such events effectively. Talking about US Open now, former champion Carlos Alcaraz's Grand Slam winning streak came to a screeching halt at the US Open as the Spanish was thumped 6-1, 7-5, 6-4 by unseeded Dutchman Botic van de Zandschulp in the second round. Alcaraz never recovered from a shaky start and made unforced errors throughout as the inspired Van de Zandschulp snapped the French Open and Wimbledon champions' 15-match winning run at the majors. It was the Paris Olympic silver medalist's earliest exit at a Grand Slam since Wimbledon in 2021. Former New York quarterfinalist Van de Zandschulp was lost of words after the biggest victory of his career. He will next face Britain's Jack Draper. And Cristiano Ronaldo, the all-time leading goal scorer in the UEFA Champions League, was honoured with a special award by UEFA President Alexander Cafrin on Thursday, recognizing his remarkable achievements. The Portugal captain received an award for being the all-time Champions League top goal scorer, with the 39-year-old netting 141 goals during his spells with Manchester United, Real Madrid and Juventus. During that time, he also won the competition on 5 occasions, once with Manchester United, before 4 times with Real Madrid, including 3 in a row from 2016 to 2018. And India's Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports, Dr. Mansukh Mandaviya, launched retired sportsperson empowerment training program on the occasion of National Sports Day. The minister said RESET program is aimed at empowering retired sportspersons who brought immense laurels to the nation. The program will support them in their career development journey by empowering them with the necessary knowledge and skills and making them more employable.
मैं मानता हूं कि ऐसे कार्यक्रम से हमारे निवृत्त खिलाड़ियों में जो कौशल्य है, जो स्किल है, उसकी क्षमता है, उसका न्यू जनरेशन को फायदा होगा। देश के कई नए खिलाड़ी को निर्माण करने में उसकी भूमिका रहेगी और ये स्वयं सेट हो जाएंगे और राष्ट्र निर्माण में सहयोग करते रहेंगे। इसलिए रिसेट प्रोग्राम का आज स्पोर्ट्स मिनिस्ट्री के द्वारा प्रारंभ हो रहा है। सभी स्पोर्ट्स के साथ जुड़े हुए निवृत्त खिलाड़ियों को मैं इस योजना में शामिल होने के लिए आह्वान करता हूं।
All right, that's all we have in this edition of DD India News Hour, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.